Tanzania sustains 6% national economic growth.
For the year 2024-2025.
Ewura eyes more CNG fueling stations. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live at our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. Minister of State, President's Office, Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo says the evaluation of implementation of the National Development Plan shows that the country's economy continues to grow at an average of 6% for a period of 20 years, while inflation continues to be controlled. Professor Mkumbo made the revelation in Parliament in Dodoma while presenting the National Development Plan proposals for the year 2024 to 2025. Here's the report by Milka Andrew, read by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Parliament sessions continue in Dodoma, and this time the members of Parliament are discussing the National Development Plan for the year 2024-2025, as well as the recommendations for the preparation of the government plan and budget for the year 2024-2025. The Minister of State, President's Office, Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, presents the National Development Plan containing short-term and long-term plans.
I suggest that the main goal of the national plan for the coming years is to stimulate the growth rate of the economy, which is integrated, which reduces the poverty, which generates employment in abundance, which creates wealth, and estimates the sales of value-added products abroad.
Finance Minister Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba also had the opportunity to present the budget plan preparation for the year 2024-2025.
The government budget's proposal for the year 2024-2025 have focused on revenue collection, economic growth expectations, the state of the world economy, along with the government's strategies that continues to increase domestic revenue. Some of the strategies that will be used to achieve the goal of local collections is continuing to solve the scope of revenue collections by creating new sources of revenue.
Contributing to the proposal, the members of Parliament emphasize the upcoming economic plans to solve the existing challenges, including improving the infrastructure to stimulate more economic activities. For 5 days, the parliamentarians continue to discuss the National Development Plan for the year 2024-2025, as well as the preparation for the government budget for the year 2024-2025.
The President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, acknowledges the close cooperation between Tanzania, especially Zanzibar, and the World Bank, the European Union, and the diplomatic cooperation between Australia and Tanzania. Speaking to the Australian ambassador to Tanzania, Luke William, at the State House in Zanzibar, Dr. Mwinyi showed his appreciations for the partnership that exists between Tanzania and Australia, insisting Zanzibar has been benefiting from the fishing and seaweed industry.
So we are very thankful for that, and as you mentioned, the areas of cooperation that we are looking forward to, particularly on investment, is for mainland Tanzania, mining is a huge one. And for us, Zanzibar here is the blue economy and tourism. I'm told Australia is doing very well in the tourism sector. So would very much like to see more cooperation in that sector. All in all, thank you very much for your service here in Tanzania.
On the other hand, President Dr. Mwinyi met and held talks with the Director General of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of the European Union, EU, Shalina however, uncovering endless potentials of the blue economy surrounded by the Indian Ocean, it boasts of many opportunities arising from marine resources. Both guests thanked President Dr. Mwinyi for continued support and cooperation, increasing mutually beneficial investment and economic opportunities in Tanzania. Director General of the Energy and Water Utilities Authority, EWURA, Dr. James Andilile, says his authority is ready to issue permits and licenses to local companies interested in building natural gas filling stations in areas where the natural gas pipeline passes. He made the call during a meeting with the media editors in Dar es Salaam. Rehema Sibabili has more.
Speaking to media editors in Dar es Salaam, the EWURA Director General says currently more than 3,000 vehicles in the country are connected to the natural gas system, and now the challenge remains to beat the number of filling stations. The Director General adds that currently the country has a total of 3 gas filling stations, which include Tazara, Ubungo and Mtwara stations, adding that 2 stations will be opened soon at airports and in Mkuranga.
But there are 2 stations that I have mentioned which are Anrek in Tazara and the one in Ubungo TPDC and Pan Africa. Per day they provide services to 350 vehicles, and as I am speaking here, there's a station called Takwa which is at the airport and is already complete and will be launched very soon. We also have the Dangote station in Mkolanga that is already completed and will also be launched very soon. We have also offered permits for building infrastructure for CNG to TPDC. They'll have a station at Mlimani City.
Furthermore, the director reassures EWURA's commitment to work on the Deputy Prime Minister's directive in the petroleum sector, where the authority has already made improvements to the regulations on oil prices, which starts in November.
Tumefanya maboresho ya kanuni na hata kuanzia mwezi huu
We have made improvements in the regulations, and from this month the prices will change. We use the amount of oil left for the past month to determine the price of oil for the next month. This means that if the amount of oil left was enough for 15 days and was sold at a price of 3,300 shillings, the next month we will use the previous amount and current amount to find the average.
EWURA has already issued permits for the construction of compressed natural gas CNG refilling stations at Muhimbili, Mlimani City and Kibaha. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sibabili, TBC News.
The government, through the Digital Tanzania project coordinated by the Ministry of Information, Communication and Information Technology, have signed 2 contracts worth 43.3 billion shillings with 2 companies, MS Softness Technology and MS Imaging Communication Limited, aiming to improve the IT system in the country, especially in government institutions. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Information, Communication and Information Technology, Mohamed Hamis Abdullah, witnessed the signing, marking the first special session of the Working Group of the Digital Revolution.
Manake tukisema uunganishaji wa mifumo, manake tunategemea mifumo ya sekta binafsi na mifumo ya sekta ya umma hii.
We have law concerning all issues about ICT in the country. First, let us start with the policy. We have a policy of 2006, which will be renewed and come up with a policy of 2025. And when we complete that, we will make a new ICT law. Now we have an e-government law, which deals with the issues concerning the government only. But now there is a need to come up with a law that will cut across the public and the private sector.
Furthermore, the Permanent Secretary, who is also the chairperson of the Digital Revolution Working Group, Abdullah, says the group plans to bring positive results and help the country grow economically, while the Secretary of the Working Group, Dr. Godwill Wanga, and one of the members of the group, Jacqueline Owiso, explains the expected results upon completion of the project.
Katika ulimwengu wa kidigitali, kitu kikubwa cha msingi ni data.
In the digital world, one of the most important things is data, and data belongs to every individual. So, what can be done in order to protect each person's data? We are well prepared and are planning to evaluate and create a policy in regard to data protection.
We need digital transformation. People are conducting online businesses, Agriculture also needs a digital system where people can search for markets, prices, and buyers for their products. So our duty as a private sector is to oversee policy changes and law changes in order to see how they bring a positive impact in the development of our country.
The Restoration Initiative, TRI, implemented by 10 countries in the world, including Tanzania, is said to produce positive impacts, including restoration of water sources, which previously were drying up, the establishment of various beekeeping projects, and economic empowerment of women who are organized in various groups, among other impacts. Our reporter Faith Ngaga attended the 5th Global Learning Workshop held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, which aims at shedding light on the impact of the Restoration Initiative and unifying various stakeholders in the environmental sector.
The impact of environmental degradation and climate change has been apparent worldwide. The Tanzanian government has implemented various initiatives, including policy reviews. And here the Permanent Secretary, Vice President's Office, Mary Maganga, elaborates.
So as part of our commitment and ambition to strengthen an enabling environment for landscape restoration and biodiversity conservation, in 2021 we launched the National Environmental Policy, and in 2022 we launched the 10-year National Environment Master Plan for Strategic Interventions. The Master Plan outlines environmental conservation and restoration objectives, interventions, and hotspots. We are currently finalizing the National Forest and Landscape Restoration Strategy, which will guide efforts towards the realization of restoration-related country targets by 2030 and beyond.
Another key player in the implementation of this project, Dr. Francis Masau from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, elaborates the role of the organization towards the Restoration Initiative and the future prospects that it holds.
It has been noted that agricultural production is not as much as would have been, and also the water sources have been drying up. And this is where now the TRI project came in to try and restore productivity as well as water sources. So in terms of what we are seeing as indicative progress or outcomes from this project, I can say that it is clearly evident that the water sources that were reportedly drying have started recharging, and this is clearly attributable to the efforts that we are making through this project and other catalytic projects, because we have several others that support what the project itself is implementing.
On the other hand, Carol St. Laurent, the head of Forest and Grassland team from IUCN, says 300,000 hectares have been restored so far, and more than 40 new policies have been developed or enhanced to support forest and landscape restoration, while Dr. Damas Mapunda cemented on the impacts of the TRI project in the country so far.
300,000 hectares restored on the ground, 450,000 hectares brought under improved management on the ground, more than 40 new policies developed or enhanced and enriched to support forest and landscape restoration. So this is a program that's really having a difference politically and on the ground in 9 different countries.
So we support income generating activities, alternative income generating activities, and around more than 80 communities have been supported for different activities such as beekeeping, milk collections, cattle keeping, and goat.
Faith Ngaga, TBC News.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. John Jingu, says the government of Tanzania, in collaboration with Apollo hospitals from India, have to build a modern and specialized hospital to reduce the cost and the number of patients who otherwise would undergo treatment in India. He made the disclosure after meeting and holding talks with the management of Apollo hospitals in Dar es Salaam. Here's the report by Ismail Bugda, read by Teddy Mparanyanga.
This is one of the many outcomes of the President Samia Suluhu Hassan's visit to India in October this year, where, among other things, she facilitated a way for the management of Apollo hospitals in India to build a modern hospital in Tanzania. And today, the management of Apollo hospitals has arrived in the country to discuss the way forward. Here, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, assures the work to be done within 3 years.
We're talking about accessibility to super specialized services to our people. So this is going to be a big milestone and a big achievement. Accessibility to super specialized, which currently they are not available. Currently people have to move, have to travel all the way to India to access these services. Now these services are going to be brought here. That is going to be a huge milestone. The second one is the leveraging new technologies to address health challenges facing our people. Yes, new technologies, including artificial intelligence, to deal with problems, health problems facing our people. But third, we are talking about building capacity of our people, of our health professionals.
And here the president of Apollo Hospitals, Dr. K. Hari Prasad, says apart from building the hospital, India will also invest in modern technology.
The third thing which we talked about was about technology, use of technology to reach out to the people. Today we are living in a world where technology is playing a huge role in reaching out to the people at distant locations, and who do not have access to a doctor, who do not have access to good health care. And there is a severe shortage of good manpower, not only in Tanzania, but across the world. Technology is playing a big role in bridging this gap. So we've had a very good discussion with the ministry in terms of how we are using technology to reach out to the people, whether it is simple teleconsultation, it could be a tele-emergency, it could be a tele-intensive care unit, it could be screening for some of the diseases and management of diseases which impact basic healthcare indices like...
For more than 20 years, Apollo Hospital has been receiving and treating more than 1,000 patients. The construction of the hospital will also be accompanied with the use of artificial intelligence technology, hoping to boost the country's excellence in medical services provision within the East African community and Africa at large.
Representative of the Executive Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Kennedy Osea, says the government, through the Higher Education for Economic Transformation, HEET, project plans to build new Muhimbili College of Health and Allied Sciences MUHAS campus in Ujiji area in the Kigoma region as part of moving specialized health services to the Great Lakes regions. He was attending a two-day meeting with stakeholders in the health sector to discuss strategies for the establishment of the MUHAS branch in the Kigoma region, insisting the construction of the branch will facilitate access to enough experts who will help to provide health services in the country and abroad.
The important thing is that the ministry would like to see this campus become a big campus and get experts from abroad to stay for a while and help in teaching, so that we can attract students from neighboring countries and even patients.
On the other hand, the acting Vice-Chancellor of MUHAS, Professor Apollinary Kamuhabwa, say the HEET project is crucial for the Kigoma region and other neighboring countries. A statement supported by the Deputy Secretary of the HEET project, Dr. Atanieli Sirili,
be in the time that will start and when we will be finishing, but we must get the ideas from the stakeholders. When we start short-term programs, they will be responding to similar problems. As we know, Congo has been very affected by epidemic diseases, including Ebola. So we are trying to gather opinions so that we can develop programs that will respond to those challenges.
The construction of the Muhimbili branch is expected to start in 2024. The government of Uganda and Vital Bahrain EC company have opted the port of Dar es Salaam to import oil as part of boosting economic relations between the two countries. Here are more details.
The decision comes a few days after the company was licensed for fuel supply in Uganda by a new Ugandan National Oil Company, UNOC, which is commissioned to handle the government of Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. The Uganda National Oil Company and Vital Bahrain EC have agreed to a 5-year contract, and this partnership will financially guarantee the working capital for its global reserves to ensure competitiveness of the price of oil products. The Ugandan government has given Uganda National Oil Company Limited, UNOC, the task of managing the importation and distribution of fuel as an implementation of the 2003 Petrol Distribution Law that was revised in 2023. For Uganda to choose the Port of Dar es Salaam stands as a sign of the port efficiency in importing petroleum and gas operations.
Well, dear viewers, before we end up the local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Well, don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Stay tuned for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Dorothy Murray and read by Faida Ngaga.
Of people are trapped in flooded areas following heavy rains in Somalia's Jubaland state. A statement issued by the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says the heavy rains that started last month have elevated the water levels on the Juba River, causing flooding in riverine areas of the state. Efforts by authorities and rescue partners are underway to evacuate the stranded locals. Reports say at least 40 people have died and 47,000 have been displaced in the flash floods across Somalia since last month. More than 20 people have been killed and several others injured after shells hit a market in a suburb of Sudan's capital, Khartoum. The crowded market in Omdurman was hit after an intense exchange of fire between Sudan Army and Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. The clashes continue in capital and in other cities in Darfur and the Kordofan region amid talks between the rival forces in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Officials in southwestern Cameroon say suspected separatists have killed at least 20 people during an overnight attack on a village. Several others were left badly injured and homes were set ablaze in the area known as Manu. 2 Anglophone regions of Cameroon have suffered from relentless violence since 2017 when separatists started fighting government troops. It's left at least 6,000 people dead and close to 1 million others displaced. The administration has dismissed more than 60 soldiers and prison officers over the jailbreak of former junta leader Musa Dadis Camara and 2 others. Camara and other 2 prisoners were recaptured and returned to prison a few hours after being freed early on Saturday. Junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya says he fired the military and prison officers for breach of employment and misconduct. The authorities in Guinea say at least 9 people were killed during a jailbreak in which former military ruler Musa David Camara was briefly freed.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports news, Of Tanzania Football Federation TFF Referees Committee Nasoro Hamduni says proper steps have been taken to avoid poor refereeing repeat in the ongoing NBC Premier League matches in the country. Speaking to TBC News, Hamdun asserts that the committee will conduct more workshops to referees to polish their skills and knowledge in refereeing football matches as the one way on improving quality of football in Tanzania.
We strongly urge the referees to ensure that all lost time is compensated and all legal lost time, such as the treatment of the goalkeeper in the field, the substitutions of players and more celebrations should be considered, since the referees have a big role, because even if CAF and the FIFA give instruction but have not mentioned the mency to compensate.
There have been complaints from soccer fans on poor refereeing displayed by referees in various football matches, leading to unfair results, consequently declining the standard of the league. 6 soccer fans who were admitted at Temeke Hospital after sustaining injuries during the match between arch-rivals Simba Football Club and Young Africans played at Benjamin Mkapa Stadium have been discharged. The Temeke Hospital medical officer in charge, Dr. Joseph Kimaro, says fans had sustained minor injuries and they were properly treated at the hospital.
Katika watu 6, watu 5 walikuwa na mshtuko, yani tunaita fainting attack.
Out of 6 people, 5 people got fainting attack, and 1 person who arrived at the end after the game. He seemed to have slipped and fell, and he seemed broken. So all these people have been allowed to go home.
Kwa hiyo watu wote hawa wamehudumiwa na wameruhusiwa kurudi nyumbani wakaendelee na matibabu madogo wakiwa nyumbani.
Simba Football Club was beaten by the arch-rivals Young Africans by 5-1, making the team climb to the top of the league with 21 points, while Simba remains third with 18 points. That is sports news, and now before we conclude the news bulletin, let's take a look at our weather update.
Hello viewers, my name is Jess Makwata and this is 24 hours weather forecast starting from tonight. Rainfall pattern are showing signal of rainfall, especially over most part of the country, with a reduction of activity over the southern part of our country. During the night, you expect the Lake Victoria Basin and western part of the country to feature partly cloudy conditions, thunder showers over a few areas. Northeastern Island, northern coast, including northern parts of Morocco, we expect rain showers during the night. The rest part of the country, we expect just partly cloudy conditions. For tomorrow, we expect the Lake Victoria Basin, western part of the country, including Rukwa, Tanga, Isles of Unguja and Papa, to experience cloudy conditions, thunder showers over most areas and sunny interval. While over northeastern island, northern parts of Morogoro, Dar es Salaam and Pwani, we expect a cloud condition, thunder showers over some areas and sun interval. Central part of the country, together with the Lindi, we expect it to feature partly cloud condition, rain showers over a few areas in sunny period. Mbeya, Songwe, Iringa, Njombe, together with southern part of Morogoro, we expect light rain showers over a few areas in sunny period. While over Ruvuma and Mtwara, we expect just partly cloud condition and sun period. TMA has issued warning concerning period of heavy rains expected over Mara, Simiyu, Shinyanga, Mwanza, western part of the country, together with Tanga and Isles of Unguja and Pemba. So people living on those areas are advised to take a necessary precaution to minimize associated impacts. And now let's have the next 4 days weather forecast.
The end of our news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I'm Agnes Tuniga. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.
Damka Bari Tanzania,
kutoka pwani ya Kiwengwa
mpaka mwalo wa Katonga,
pwani ya Msimbati mpaka Ukerewe.
TBC tunakuja kivingine, tukiwa tumesheheni vipindi mbalimbali vya habari, matukio, burudani na michezo.
Ndiyo, usikubali kutenganishwa na mto wakati kuna ngao.
Na ukiona tembo wanaringa, ujue mvua zimekaribia.
Kama kawaida ndani ya TBC, na leo nakuambia hivi, mgaga na ukwa hadi wali mkavu.
Halo, umechaguliwa kuwa mshindi wa kula gwala na TBC Taifa. Unakwenda kujishindia pesa taslim shilingi milioni 5 kwa kuwa msikilizaji bora wa vipindi vyetu hapa TBC Taifa. Naam, haijawahi kutokea na haitatokea.
Waswahili wanasema inayotaka kunyesha haisubiri mawingu.
Ndiyo mvua, ndiyo jua. TBC tuko nawe saa 24 siku 7 za wiki.
Wakati wao wakitenganisha chuya na mchere, sisi huku kwetu tunasaidisha, tunapakua.
Naam, mke ni mwanamwali.
TBC tunaendelea kukupa kile ambacho unastahili.
Kwa zaidi ya miongo 6 sasa, TBC tunaendelea kuwa kinara na habari na matukio.